Good morning. It's a soft sort of morning out there. Sun's up, birds are going at it, and I've already been up a couple hours, which is part of what I want to talk to you about today. I've got my coffee, of course, wouldn't be morning without it. Welcome back, or welcome if you're new. My name is Linda. Pull up a chair. I want to tell you about the simple little routine that, I am not exaggerating, saved my sanity after I retired. Because here's the thing nobody tells you. When you retire, you don't just lose the job, you lose the shape of your day. And a day with no shape is a strange and slippery thing. And if you let too many of them pile up, they'll do a number on you. I learned that the hard way. So I want to save you some of the trouble I went through and tell you the handful of simple things I do now that hold my days together. It's not fancy. It's not some big system. It's just a few anchors that keep me from floating off. And it works. There's 6 of them, and I'll go through each one, and none of them will cost you a dime or take any special anything. Get up at a set time and get dressed, a little morning ritual. One thing on the calendar each day. Move the body a bit, a wind down at night. And then the most important rule of all, which is how to keep the whole thing from turning into a prison. So pour yourself a cup and let me walk you through it. But first, let me tell you what it was like before I figured this out, so you know I'm not just talking. When I first retired, I thought the dream was no schedule, no alarm, do whatever I want, whenever I want. And for about 2 weeks, that was lovely. And then it stopped being lovely. And I think that's the big misunderstanding about retirement. We spend our whole working lives wishing we could throw the schedule in the trash. So we picture freedom as the total absence of any shape at all. But it turns out a person isn't built for that. We're built for rhythm, morning and evening, work and rest, out and home. Take away all the rhythm and you don't feel free, you feel lost. I had to learn that the freedom I actually wanted wasn't no shape. It was getting to choose my own shape. That's a very different thing, because it turns out a person needs some bones in their day. Without them, everything goes soft. I'd wake up with no reason to get up, so I'd lie there. I'd stay in my robe till noon because who's going to see me? I'd eat at odd hours, or forget to eat a real meal at all. The days started running together into one long, shapeless blur, and I started feeling low and foggy and not like myself. I didn't have a word for it at the time. Now I'd call it drifting. I was just drifting. And one morning I caught a look at myself, robe, hair of fright, 11 in the morning, second day in a row I hadn't really gotten dressed. And I thought, Linda, this is not retirement. This is just slowly coming apart. Something's got to change. I'll tell you what scared me. It was how fast it crept up. I'd always been a put-together person, worked in the hospital billing office for years, up and out the door at the same time every morning, sharp as a tack. And here I was, just a few months into retirement, and I'd let myself go soft and foggy without even noticing it happen. It didn't come all at once. It came one easy morning at a time, each one perfectly reasonable, until they added up to a person I didn't quite recognize. That's how the drift gets you, not in one big day, in 100 small, soft ones. So I built myself a routine. And I want to be clear about what I mean by that because I think the word scares people. I don't mean a rigid schedule with every minute planned. Good heavens, no, I escaped that. I mean a few simple anchors, dropped into the day at the right spots, that hold the whole thing steady. Here's what they are. The first anchor, and it's the most important one, is I get up at the same time every day, and I get dressed for real. Same time. Doesn't matter that I don't have anywhere to be. 7 o'clock, I'm up. Because the lie-in that feels so good is exactly the thing that lets the whole day go soft. If you don't put a start on the day never really starts. It just sort of leaks out around you. And then I get dressed, real clothes, not the robe, not the pajamas with the holes. I'm not saying you've got to put on your Sunday best to sit in your own kitchen, but there's something about getting properly dressed that tells your own brain, all right, we're a person today, we're doing things. The robe tells your brain the opposite. My sister Donna, back in Akron, she laughed at me when I told her this. She said, "Who am I getting dressed for, Linda? The cat?" And I said, "You're not getting dressed for the cat, Donna. You're getting dressed for yourself." There's a difference between clothes you wear for other people and clothes you wear to tell yourself you're still in the game. And I'll tell you, a couple months later, she called and admitted I was right, which Donna does not do often, so I marked the calendar. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I'd bet money it isn't. The second anchor is the morning ritual. Mine's the coffee. I don't just drink coffee, I make a little thing of it. The same mug, I sit in the same chair by the window. I don't bring the TV or the worries into it. Just 10, 15 minutes of coffee and looking out at the morning. It's not much, but it's the same every day, and that sameness is the point. It's a little ceremony that says the day has begun, and begun gently, on my terms, before the world gets a vote. You need something like that, a small thing you do the same way every morning that's just for you. It bookends the start of the day, and a day with a real start is a day that's already halfway to having a shape. And it doesn't have to be coffee. For you, it might be the crossword, or a few minutes with the good book, or sitting on the porch listening to the morning before anybody else is up. The what doesn't matter near as much as the sameness. Your brain comes to know that little ritual, and it starts using it like a doorway. You walk through it, and you're in the day now, properly, instead of just sort of leaking into it sideways. I look forward to my 15 minutes by that window more than just about anything. It's the calmest part of my whole day, and I made it on purpose. The third anchor, and this one's the workhorse, I make sure there's one thing on the calendar every single day. One reason to leave the house, just one. It doesn't have to be big. A trip to the store, a walk, coffee with a friend, the library on Tuesdays. A doctor's appointment even. I've gotten to where I'm almost glad for those. But one thing, every day, that requires me to put on my shoes and go out the door and be among people. Because here's what I learned. The days I've got nowhere to go are the days that go sideways. A day with not one single reason to leave the house is a day that'll swallow you. So I never let a day be empty. If I look at tomorrow and there's nothing on it, I put something on it. I call somebody, I plan an errand, I find a reason. And here's a little trick that helps. I try not to do all my errands in one big trip. I know that's not efficient, but if I knock out the whole week's errands on Monday, then I've got 6 empty days staring at me. So I spread them out, one little outing a day, on purpose, inefficient on purpose, because the outing was never really about the milk. It was about having a reason to be a person out in the world that day. You'd be amazed what one little outing does to hold a whole day upright. The fourth anchor is moving the body a little. And I know, nobody wants to hear it, but hear me out. I'm not talking about the gym. I tried the gym, went 4 times, we've discussed this. I'm talking about a walk. Most days, weather permitting, I take a walk around the neighborhood. 20 minutes maybe, nothing heroic, but it does something for the head as much as the body. I go out a little foggy and I come back a little clearer every time. It's the cheapest medicine there is, and the only side effect is you sleep better. And there's a bonus to walking the same neighborhood that I didn't expect. You start to know people. There's a fella down the street who's always out with his roses, and we wave now, and some mornings we chat. There's a gal who walks her little dog about when I'm out, and we've gotten friendly. None of that would have happened if I stayed inside. So the walk isn't just for the body, it's stitched me back into the neighborhood, one wave at a time. On the bad weather days, I just do a few laps around the house, which feels silly, but silly and moving beats sad and still. The fifth anchor is a little wind down at night, so the day has an ending too. This is one people forget. They put a start on the day, but no finish, and then evening just sort of dribbles into late night nothing and bad sleep. And bad sleep is its own whole problem because a tired person can't keep any routine going, so the whole thing falls apart from the back end. I have a little routine at the end too. I make my tea, decaf, I'm not a fool. I read for a bit, a real book, not the phone, because the phone keeps you up and gets you riled. I tidy the kitchen so I come down to a clean start in the morning, And let me tell you, waking up to a tidy kitchen is a small gift you give your tomorrow self. Little things. But they tell my body the day is done, you did fine, you can rest now. A day needs two bookends, a start and a finish. Most folks only build the start, and then they wonder why the evenings feel so loose and lonesome. Now, here's the most important thing I can tell you about all of this, so listen close. It's anchors, not a cage. I built this routine to free me, not to box me in. If Shelley calls and wants to talk for an hour and I miss my walk, the world does not end. If a friend invites me out and it blows up my whole afternoon, wonderful, I go. The routine isn't there to rule me, it's there to catch me on the empty days, the ones with nothing in them, so I don't drift. On the full days, I don't even need it. It's just there for the quiet ones. That's the difference between a routine that saves your sanity and one that steals it. A good routine is a net under you, not a fence around you. The minute it starts feeling like a fence, loosen it. I think that's where some folks go wrong, honestly. They hear routine and they go and build themselves some rigid, color-coded schedule every minute spoken for, and within a week they hate it and they quit, and then they're right back to drifting. Don't do that. You're not running a railroad. You're just giving a loose day a few things to hang on. If you miss one, you miss one. There's no gold star and no demerit. It's the gentlest thing in the world. But on a gray, empty Tuesday with nobody calling and nothing happening, that net is the thing that keeps you a person instead of a lump in a robe. I've been the lump in the robe. The net is better. So here's what I keep coming back to. When you were working, somebody else built the bones of your day for you. The alarm, the schedule, the places you had to be. You didn't have to think about it. The day came with a shape attached. Retire and that shape disappears and nobody hands you a new one. You have to build it yourself. And the folks who don't build one, who just let the days run loose, those are the ones who end up foggy and low and wondering what happened to them. It's not that retirement made them that way. It's that nobody told them they'd have to build their own bones. Living alone, like I do, this matters even more, I'll be honest. When there's another person in the house, they give your day a little shape just by being there. Somebody to have breakfast with, somebody whose comings and goings mark the hours. On your own, there's none of that, nobody's schedule but yours. So the bones I build are the only bones there are. That sounds like a hard thing, and some days it is. But there's a freedom in it, too. I get to build the day exactly the way that suits me, and answer to nobody about it. It is the simplest thing in the world, and it makes all the difference. Get up at a set time, get dressed, have your little morning, put one thing on the calendar, move your body a bit, bookend the night. That's it. That's the whole secret. 6 little anchors, and a shapeless day turns back into a real one. And the lovely part is, you don't have to do all 6 at once, especially not on day 1. If the whole list feels like too much, just start with the first one. Set the alarm and get dressed. That one anchor alone will change your mornings, and once that one's steady, you add the next. That's how I did it. I didn't build the whole routine in a day. I added one anchor at a time until the day held together on its own. I'm not going to pretend I do all 6 perfectly every single day. I don't. Some days I'm a mess, same as anybody. But I come back to the anchors, and the anchors carry me through the rough patches. They're the reason I'm sitting here put together and content instead of drifting around my house in a robe wondering what day it is. They saved my sanity. I mean that plainly. Not in a dramatic way, in the quiet, everyday way that actually counts. By giving an empty day just enough to hold on to so I never slip all the way back down into that fog again. So let me ask you something this morning. What's the one anchor in your day that holds you steady? Maybe it's already the coffee, or a walk, or a standing call with somebody you love. Tell me down in the comments. And if you're retired and feeling that drift, that fog, that shapelessness, pick just one of these to start tomorrow. Just one. Set the alarm and get dressed. See if it doesn't help. Then come tell me about it. Because I really do believe the difference between a retirement that feels like a gift and one that feels like drifting often comes down to something this small. Not your money, not your health, even though Lord knows that matters. Just whether your days have a little shape to hang on to. It's such a humble little thing to make such a big difference, but it does. It surely does. And if this was useful, give it a like. It helps these reach folks who are sitting in a robe at noon right now, feeling like something's wrong with them when really they just need a little shape to the day. And if you've got somebody who's struggling with their day since they retired, send it their way. It might be just the nudge they need. If you want to keep coming to the table with me, you can subscribe, and I'll see you next time. We'll keep each other steady. That's what the table's for, after all. All right, that's enough for me today. Go put on some real clothes, even if it's just for the cat. You'll feel the difference by lunchtime. And be good to yourselves.